back in the building, back in this, as
You.
we do. Never missing a beat, never missing a step.
Oh.
Tangoing in this bit. Ah.
Hey. Hey.
Come
Yes,
on,
sir.
come on, we're here, bro.
Yeah. I'd like to go to a salsa little like, excursion still, a salsa function. Do you know what I mean? That'd be
I
cool.
remember
That'd be nice.
one time I was in Norway. I
Mm-hmm.
was out there playing pan. Shout out to Ebony Steel Band. We was on tour out in Norway, and I met this
Right.
young fly lady, and there was the event that we was at. It was like a music event. Obviously, we was playing pan, and there was some salsa dances and people playing drums, and we was playing pan. It was just like a various musicians just in like an auditorium sort of thing, just kind of getting their vibes
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
And I remember there was a salsa group, met this young lady, and that was the first time I ever tried salsa in Norway. She kind of took me, you know, when they kind of take you by the hand sort of thing and show you the
Yeah,
steps
yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of bring you in and you
Yeah.
kind of just follow their feet. Yeah, man, I'll never forget that time, man.
Uh-huh.
First time I ever tried salsa was in Norway with this young, beautiful Latino lady. Good times, man. Good times, good times, good
Probably
times.
related, probably
Um,
related to Salma Hayek, probably. You know what I mean?
yeah. Something like that. Something like that. I just remember, you know, trying to get some alone time at one point in the evening, and the fire alarm going off, similar to our cinema club
That's a hater.
situation.
Yeah.
I always thought that.
Yeah,
It's just
same
one of those
person.
memories, you know,
Yeah.
like of all times for the fire alarm to go off. I'm like, really? Just when I'm trying to get to know the young lady just a little more, you know, just because we're from two different parts of the world, it would just be interesting just to know, you know. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
another day,
And when it
man.
comes to
That's, you
clapping
know,
your cheeks, that
it's,
is translated
it's
in
what it
many
is.
different languages. So yeah,
It's,
yeah,
you
it
know,
is
you
what it
know,
is,
you
man.
know. Anyway, people, I go by the name of Zeus, aka Guyver.
And I'm his co-pilot for the plane that is I was about to say Secret Airways. You know, damn, that's a different movie. For
Yes,
Screen
you're right.
Runners Airways, it's your boy Joseph Records, aka Mr. 767, and we are finally here. Phase 5 has officially come to an end. We're here. Zush, we're
Oh,
here.
has it?
Phase 5 is
Has
done.
it?
It's officially done now. We're stepping
Is
into
it a
6
wrap?
now.
Is it a wrap? Okay.
Yeah. We're
Are we
stepping into
ready?
phase
Are we
6
ready?
now with the next joint that's about to come. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. Tell them what we did today, please, please, please.
People, we are here to bring you. First and foremost, we go by the name of the Screen Runners, just in case you don't know. For all those that don't, we're here to give you the best movie and TV review shows that your uncle's new side piece has ever seen, on the big and small screen. And today
Yeah.
we are here for none other than the new Avengers. Sorry, my bad. I was doing a drizzy there. My bad.
Man's got in
We
hot.
are here
Man's
for
got. Whoa, wait,
Thunderbolts.
what? Nah, no, don't do
We're here
that.
for
Don't do that. Me? I would
we're
never have
here. My
opened up with
bad, my
that.
bad,
I
my
would have
bad,
never
my bad.
spoken. Now, let me start with a hot take.
Yeah, hey, come on. We need a little something, little Drizzy's hot takes, Drizzy's hot
Let me
takes,
say,
Drizzy's
yeah,
hot
we did
takes,
something. All right,
Drizzy's hot takes, Drizzy's
I'm gonna
hot
drop
takes.
this hot take.
All right.
I think Yelena is a better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson.
What? Are you saying better?
As in,
Let's break that down a bit.
as a character, she's way more multi-layered than Natasha was. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about this character, and I could be saying I'm being biased, but then I have Dr. Umar wouldn't answer my calls because either Scarlett or Florence Pugh's phone call would get answered. But
I
I
mean,
just
more
feel
Scarlet.
like,
I hear you.
yeah, but I just feel like what Florence Pugh has done with this character from getting introduced to Black Widow to then into Hawkeye, then moving on to this, she's really just like grabbed it by the horns, man, and just, you know,
Considering
yeah, I just
to
feel
the
like,
masses, she is a nobody.
huh?
I said, considering to the masses, she is a nobody.
Yes, 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 and
So she
she's
has
just,
managed to worm her way into. All right, now I got a little. All right, I can hold this film. I can. This is me because technically
yeah,
she is really the main character of this, and
yep,
kind of if you don't consider her to be that, which I'm not too sure how you wouldn't.
yeah,
Um, she definitely holds the film together in terms of giving you everything from emotional to action to
some humor, like, yeah, it,
she gives you range in this,
yeah,
which allows her and gives her the screen time and the connection for you to understand as her character starts to build within this film if you haven't seen her before.
yeah, yeah. I just think she's made such a big impact in such a short space of time. Like she didn't have the luxury of being in Iron Man 2 like Natasha did. She didn't have the luxury of rolling with the Avengers. She didn't have the luxury of being in Civil War.
I hear you.
Like,
I hear
you see
you.
what I'm saying? And the
I
fact
hear
that
that.
she's done that in such a short space of time to the point where she's a centerpiece of, like, let's not get confused. Marvel have tried to, and rightly so, introduce a whole bunch of new characters for Phase 4 and 5, and not all of them have landed, or maybe they tried to do it too quick, too fast. But with Yelena, it's just like, she's just dope, man. She's just dope. Like, and in this film, this for me as well is like, okay, cool. Let me not. Natasha is always going to be OG Avenger, so no one can ever take that title away from her. And it would good, but like, like moving forward,
This has been a good
this
segue. She's been a good segue.
great. She picked up the
She's been a
baton
good.
and she hasn't looked back once or been like, oh, can I carry this? Or oh, this is too heavy. She just kept running with it, man. And yeah, like she's now a core. I can't wait to see her again in whatever it is next she's about. Well, we know because they did the whole chair reveal and her name was on it, so
Yeah.
Doomsday. But I can't wait to see her again.
Well,
Just like Mackie is
now
Cap.
going into that, you have some sort of rapport with her.
Yeah,
So she
yeah,
has garnered her own little fan base and her own little movement now. So moving on to that film,
agreed.
um, you now understand her a bit more. I mean, let's just dive into our likes and dislikes, starting with
Mm-hmm.
likes.
Yep.
Opening scene.
Whew.
Straight old boy vibes. Let's not do that.
Straight. Yeah.
Straight old boy vibes. Come on. That was old boy. That was old boy. Don't do that. That was
I,
old boy. It's
sir, I said nothing.
I'm just
I,
saying. It was old
okay,
boy.
cool.
I know
Yeah,
some old boy when I see some
we
old
heard you.
with a
We
pause.
heard you. Yeah,
But yeah, if
yeah.
you've seen Old Boy and not the Spike Lee version, neither, don't go watching that trash.
The OG.
So we're talking about the Korean one, yeah. Just go and watch the subtitle version. But yeah, I really like the opening scene. I thought that was really dope.
Yeah.
To me, that was a homage to Old Boy, like I've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my likes. All right, I'm starting to notice them doing this a lot with films and TV shows.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, the grandfather of it all
Yeah.
is none other than Slow Horses.
Okay.
But I felt like you felt like I was going somewhere else.
No,
So
no,
let
no. I'm letting you land. I'm letting you land. But I think you're gonna
but
still, yeah,
this whole losers anti-hero aspect that they seem to be going with
yeah,
and the narrative that they seem to be showing and portraying and a lot of these just in a lot of films and TV shows it's a real underdog story, a
yep,
real we're not really all that and we're not really
yeah,
all together, we're the rejects of the crew, but here's what we have to offer kind of vibes. Like I'm noticing that to be a very consistent narrative
yep,
in TV at the moment.
uh-huh,
Like I said, Slow Horses is the daddy of that,
yeah,
and I really feel like they took an element of that and put that in this film. I got a very slow horses vibe from this.
Uh-huh.
Um, in fact, I wouldn't even call it the new Avengers. I'd call it the new slow horses. Um, but I weren't mad at that. I kind of
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
kind of like that. At times, it did feel a bit forced and a bit disconnected. But we'll get to that more in my dislikes. But
Mhm.
for the majority part, I was here for that. I was here for that whole okay, we're the losers, Suicide Squad, slow horses type of feel to it. I'm
Yeah.
just noticing that theme a lot more. But I feel like this weren't bad. I felt like the introduction to the characters, how they came together,
Yeah.
how it became a team. I weren't
Yeah.
mad at.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
weren't I
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah. I think one of my highlights is definitely the introduction of everybody. Like, how are you gonna get all of them in the same room?
Mm,
That was my
mm,
first thing. Like, how are you gonna
mm.
get them all into the same room? And it's shown in the trailer of certain sequences, but obviously, again, you don't have the full context. And then when you realize what is actually happening, you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
is that what she set up? Yeah,
Yeah, because it's
she's
not
wicked.
obvious. That's
Nah,
actually not obvious.
nah,
It-
not at
As
all. Not
obvious
at
as it
all.
is from the reveal, it's like, oh shit, that wasn't even obvious that was the play. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, agreed. So that was pretty dope. That was a good. And from there, I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I like what you've done here
Yeah.
to get them all in the same room. That was pretty slick. Okay, if you didn't know, now you're gonna know. Bob was not always meant to be Lewis Pullman, and Lewis Pullman is the son of Bill Pullman, who's the president from Independence. Obviously, he's been in a whole bunch of things, but we know him from Independence Day as a
Yeah.
president from Independence Day, right? Originally, and watch how all this ties in together. Originally, Bob was meant to be played by Stephen Yu, who is known for Mark in Invincible, who was also in Beef on Netflix, which the guy who directed Thunderbolts filmed a couple episodes for. So it all interconnects. However, there could be an argument to be made that Stephen Yu would probably be playing a different version of Mark as Bob, and I'm not going to say more than that. So maybe that worked in his favor that he couldn't make it because of scheduling conflicts. We got Lewis Pullman, but for me, after Yelena, Bob was the best thing about this film, man. Like,
You
man,
think I might have to
yeah,
disagree with you on that?
he okay, all right.
I
He
might have to disagree with you on that.
at the beginning, he was us if we were dropped into what was going on there and then. Like, what's going on? This is crazy. Who are these people?
I
This
thought.
guy's a God.
No, 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 no. I'll let you lie. My bad. My bad. My bad.
One particular person in the Thunderbolts was clearly being a dick towards him, and he points that out early. And we, as an audience, like, yeah, this guy's a dick. Why is he here anyway? We don't like this guy anyway. Who,
He was funny though.
crazily enough, he has a redemption arc, and he gets called out on some BS, and you're like,
But he
raw.
was funny, man. He was funny. He was funny.
And then we get so he was us until he wasn't us because then he switches to something else, and it's like, well, okay then, I
Yeah.
guess we're all
All
gas
right.
no
See,
breaks now.
so I like that. I like
Yeah.
all the way until that, and then when it
Okay.
came that, I was like, I feel like the build up was more than the conclusion.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
when it actually got to that part, it was cool. You know,
Hmm.
I weren't mad at it
Yeah.
because another thing I did like about this, and it's something that I know that you like about a lot of shows when you reference things like Penguin and Spider Man and Daredevil. I felt like this was very grounded,
Yes.
very
100%.
relatable. I think that's another key component of the losers rejects aspect of a lot of these
Yeah.
shows and TV shows. It makes it a lot more relatable for the average person. Yeah,
Yep.
me. It's like man can't shoot lasers out your eyes and all that
Nah.
bullshit. Yeah, me. It's like
Nah.
man's just a
Yeah.
normal guy. It's like yeah, I might can do enough training to where I can do this shit. Yeah,
Yep.
me. And then
Agree.
with that, which I thought was quite slick about this film, was the way they touched upon mental health and trauma without kind of overdoing it like they normally do. Like if
Yeah,
they're gonna
yeah,
do
yeah,
some woke shit,
yeah,
sometimes it's a bit overly bait. You get me?
yeah,
But this was
yeah,
actually, or I kind of like the way they did that. Also relating to Bob as to
yeah.
why that even took place. You hear me?
Because the certain character that's in this film in the comic books was a meth head, was a meth head, and went to a lab looking for another high, and just so happens to fall upon the serum, which allows them to
Yeah,
transform into right. But they didn't shy away from that. They just didn't go too much into the whole meth side of things because obviously it's still a Marvel owned by Disney production.
yeah,
But they didn't shy away from it, and they definitely didn't shy away from the mental health side of things to the point where they was giving us everyone had their moment. There's a scene in the third act. Everyone got their moment to shine, which is pretty cool. And it kind of makes you go, damn, I miss the days when that used to happen. But I like that because it's been a while since we've had that where it's like they're not superheroes, but everyone in the team that's been assembled or whatever we're focusing on gets a moment to show off what they're capable of doing.
yeah, yeah.
That was dope because like that was cool. The mental health thing was really good, and the way they did it was cool. And
Yeah,
I
it
like
weren't
the fact,
cheesy. It weren't
nah, it
cheesy
wasn't
like they
cheesy,
normally do.
and there was some actual like, oh man, that's a bit whoa. Like Yelena's backstory, they take us back in the day, and you're like, well, damn, that's dark. Like,
Yeah.
whoa. And the fact they keep repeating it made it even worse. It's like you see it once, that's dark. And then they had it on like a loop at one point. You're like, yo, all right, cool. Enough is enough, man, because I'm feeling a little bit uneasy seeing this same thing play over again and again. And I actually liked how they resolved the problem. It was a different take on the let's get the military involved, let's get who can we call? Spoiler alert, no one turns up to help them. Just letting you know. Yeah? And for me that was a plus of this movie was that it was so grounded and focused on the story it wanted to tell.
Well, there
We
was
had
no one
no
else to rely on. There was no one else to rely on, to be
yeah,
fair.
but because they're in New York, you could have been like, well, hang on a minute, where is
Yeah.
but again, in 2025, we don't know what the Avengers look well. We do now
Well,
because we
I
got these
think that
guys.
was
But
again was another good thing about the film is
yes,
there wasn't no multiverse confusion and trying to
exactly.
bring in this character to
Build
complement
some.
this
Yeah,
and
nah.
oh we
Yeah,
got this cameo. Oh, and what happens if we go through this time
yeah,
warp and we're really there wasn't none of that rubbish. And that's what I
yeah,
meant. It felt it kind of took you back more to like the earlier times, to
yeah,
like where
yeah.
MCU was really kind of doing their thing with Iron Man and Spider Man, and it was more a
Hmm.
bit more just relatable. It was a bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
It was a bit
And
more
they're
action
they're
film mixed with superhero as
yeah,
opposed to majority superhero with a bit of action. So it was a
yeah,
lot more relatable, and I think that's where this film kind of shines in terms of it being grounded, being relatable, being something that you can kind of understand, and it's nothing super confusing. It's kind of straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. They're aware of that because there's a quote that came out from Bob Iger where he's like, "Look, we believe Thunderbolts is a perfect representation of what we're looking to do at Marvel in regards to be more focused and be quality over quantity. Because before they were under the cosh to put stuff out over the old regime because they just launched Disney Plus, and therefore we was getting, yo, the early days of Disney Plus MCU, we were getting shows almost like every 8 weeks, man.
yeah,
Um, so they're like, look, the Thunderbolts is a perfect representation of the direction we're going in moving forward. And I'm like, great. Mistakes can be made. It's all about how you rectify them. And if you point out that we recognize this was bad or we were overdoing, pushing it, we need to scale it back. Calm. Um, yeah, man. I even like the action, even though we didn't get a lot of action in regards to like what you say in a quote unquote superhero movie. I feel like the action we did get was very poignant and it was like cool. All right, here we go.
another thing I did. All right, so this was a like and dislike. So it touched on mental health and trauma quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
However, I thought they tackled the emotional side okay, but not greatly.
Okay.
So I felt like there was times where you felt what they were saying and you were kind of like, okay, cool, I kind of get the emotion part of this. I see what you lot are doing with this. But there was other times where I felt like it wasn't really executing, and I don't know if the humor in it was taken away from some of the emotion you were trying to feel. So let's just say David Harbour's character.
Yeah. Guardian.
Red Guardian. You know, I'm thinking of his actual name. What was it, Axel or some shit?
Oh, yeah, something like that. No, it
Yeah,
was
yeah. Red
Alexi.
Alexi,
Yeah,
Alexi. Um, Red Guardian. His kind of when he was getting into his emotional bag because of the character he had been,
yeah.
I felt like sometimes it wasn't always an easy transition for him. Like he weren't always delivering. Sometimes it was like, yeah, I don't know about this one, my guy. It wasn't always super believable. So I felt like at times when they tried to get into the emotional bag and tried to make you feel, I didn't necessarily feel where they wanted you to feel at.
Huh, interesting. Because I felt like to counter that he was a necessary part of what was going on because he was obviously the comic relief, but when it was time to focus, he was dropping some like, damn, that was a okay, like that moment while Yelena was second guessing herself and she's like, look, I can't. Yo, because Yelena, there's a monologue where Yelena's like, look, man, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this. She basically tells you what an average day is like
Yeah,
within
she
like
was
a
going for it.
minute.
She
And you're
was
like,
going for it.
whoa, you need
She was
you need
going for
someone
it.
to rub your head, man, and
I
your
was like,
feet.
you need to be you was a criminal.
Yeah. But he had this
Yo,
special moment with her where he throughout the film he kept being her cheerleader. And
yeah.
then they have this real time conversation where she's like, where have you been? Why haven't I heard from you? And he goes from the comic relief part of it, because all these other people are just mad serious, to like, he then says to her what he says to her, and you're like, damn, shit, okay. Whew. And then even she's like, that was
All right,
pretty
that was
good.
good. That was good.
But that was pretty good. And then
That
it's
was good.
like,
That was good.
yeah, because in this moment, you can't be all mushy now because
No,
we
no.
still got this thing to deal with right here. But I like that he had those moments. So I understand where you're coming from, but I felt like his character was necessary just because of
No,
all the other
definitely
pieces.
necessarily.
Yeah,
Definitely necessarily.
would have
Because
liked more from the assistant because I do like her. I saw her in Blockers. I don't know if you saw that film Blockers. Did you
yeah, I
see
don't
that film?
remember it though.
Yeah, she was. I think she was John Cena's daughter. I think
Okay.
she was his daughter. So I've liked her since then. And
I wasn't impressed by her. She kind of annoyed me, to be honest. It's
you know
like
what's funny?
again,
You
pick
know
a
who that
side.
role was for?
Who?
Ao from Bear.
Oh, is it?
That was meant to be her role. Now, obviously,
I don't know if that's her role.
she would have probably done something different. Now we don't know what it would look like if she had taken that role. But I like her as an actress. I just wanted, yeah, I feel like there was more she could have done. But it is what it is. Yeah.
What did you think of Bucky? I liked his intro. I'm not gonna lie.
I liked his intro. I
Well, the
like
intro, the kind of the second intro, the intro to Bucky, the intro to Bucky.
yeah. I like brother. I think Bucky's the longest serving member in the MCU now because he's been in it since the first Captain America movie. Like, so
Yeah,
yeah,
he's been
he
outside.
I like Bucky. I liked there's something that goes on in the desert, and then Bucky turns up, and I'm
That's
like,
what I was talking about. That's the intro to Bucky.
okay, sorry, I'm like, brother,
That's what I was
this is
saying. That
something
was.
straight out of Terminator.
Yeah. You know what? I've heard that. Like
Yo,
I've heard there's a couple Easter eggs. It was
bro,
Terminator, and it was two other films, but I can't remember it. And as
he
you said that, I'm like, oh shit, that kind of was
that's
like a
the
little
bro,
Terminator
the
vibe.
way he
That was a Terminator vibe.
and and on the the form of transportation and the
Yeah.
attire and the
And the
what was
little
the
wheelie. Yeah,
bro?
yeah, yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
man,
The
I was
intro
like,
was
he's in
sick.
his Terminator bag. Big up
But then
Bucky, man.
after that, like, it's not really about him.
No, and I don't think that was the point. I think
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
more
yeah,
to be
100,
there to
100.
like again help move it forward.
Where do you stand with this, man? Give us a rating. Give us your final stance on this.
I'ma give this. I'm not gonna give myself a 0.5 because no. All right, without a 0.5, I'm giving this an 8.
An 8.
I'm giving this an 8.
Okay.
I'm giving
Okay.
this an 8. I'm giving this an 8. I'm giving this an 8. If this is the direction we're going in the MCU, with what happened with Daredevil, moving on to this, I can only assume the way they're marketing this Fantastic Four film as well. Yo,
I don't feel like Fantastic Four is going to be anywhere near this, but we shall see. In
okay,
terms of like the feel, in terms of the feel of it.
because the people want to know what the one half of the Screen Runners, man like Zeus,
Yeah, yeah.
aka, is talking about. So, what's your review, sir? What's your screens? Talk to
I
me.
mean, I did enjoy it. It is a good
Yeah,
watch. I do like where Marvel are going. I do love this grounded feel where the characters are a lot more relatable. I
yeah.
am a massive fan of slow horses, and this did give me slow horses vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I will give it a 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. It's a strong
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
It's still There were still elements where I felt like it could have delivered better in. I wasn't always impressed with the acting.
Okay.
And sometimes even though I am a big fan of slow horses and that whole loser rejects feel,
Mm-hmm.
um, I do sometimes feel it's a bit of a cop out. It is kind of easy. It is a bit template. It is a bit cliche.
Right.
And with that, and you know what it was as well? They kept making a lot of reference to it. I thought that was kind of strange as well. Like the acknowledgement of we're dumbasses
We
or we're
lose this and
losers.
stuff. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of unnecessary reference to it, which I found a bit. I don't know how I found it, but like
Okay.
I'm comparing it to slow horses again, but the slow horses don't always keep calling themselves like slow
Yeah.
horses.
Yeah. Like we're losers and
Yeah,
I hear
yeah.
you.
This was kind of very we're blatantly telling you like, yo, we're the losers.
Yeah.
Just in case you don't, yo, we're the losers. The
Yeah.
losers.
Maybe that
Yeah,
was their way of like to those that haven't met these characters before, just to further drive it home. Like, yo, we're not
yeah,
heroes, you know. So I don't know. It's a thin line, isn't it, to walk really. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah. All right, cool. I respect it. I respect it. 7, 8. Like, basically, we're saying is you need to go watch this film, ladies
Yeah,
and
go
gentlemen.
run to the screens. Run to the screens for this one.
Yeah.
It's a good watch.
You know what time it is, man? It's Screen Runners time.
Come on, man. People, you already know, man. This is what we do. This is what we're here for. Yeah. Another good show, man. That was a good. That was good, man.
Absolutely,
That was a good
absolutely.
show, man.
Yeah,
People, as
man.
usual, if you've seen it, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Or if you've not seen it and you've enjoyed this review, let us know what you think about the review and if it's made you want to run to the screens or be like, you know what, I'll wait for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah? Let us know in the comments, man. Engage and we'll engage back. You already know what time it is. We go by the name of the Screen Runners and we salute you.